This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Leigh Wood here in Saudi Arabia. Leigh, it's good to see you. How are you? How's the journey over?
You too, mate. Terrible, but it was a late night flight and I got in like 2:30, but good to be here.
Well, you got in 2:30, is it? Oh, so you flew overnight, so you got in at 2:30 p.m, so in the afternoon, or?
AM.
Oh, so last night you arrived, so you've basically like slept through today?
I'm trying to keep my same time zone as back home, so going to bed, what will be late, like 2 a.m. or like 1 a.m. or but like 10, 11 back home, so that's the strategy anyway.
Leigh, what's happened? How have you ended up not being a part of the team's fight hotel?
It's late, got you late, didn't I? But no, I've been with them all day, and their hotels, and this is a nice hotel here, but their hotels are not a lot nicer than this.
I don't think there is a bad hotel in Saudi, to be fair, Leigh. Before we come on to yourself, obviously you're here to support Moses Itauma, the man who many see as the future of the heavyweight division, the young prodigy. As you've spent more and more time around him, more and more time in camp with him, what impresses you the most about Moses?
Maturity, composure. He's extremely talented. It takes all the pressure that's on his shoulders in his stride. It's the real deal, and you're going to see that on Saturday night without a shadow of a doubt.
Everybody's expecting somewhat of a one-way performance, a one-way fight rather, and for Moses to come out and to dominate early. Do you see there being huge risk in this fight, or do you follow that same tune as what a lot of pundits, a lot of people within the sport feel, that it will just be Moses Itauma no matter what happens?
No, boxing's unpredictable, but you prepare for, well, especially our gym and our system, we prepare for our opponent's strengths and what they've done in the past. That's how we pretty much predict what's going to happen in the future, and we prepare for all them areas. Moses brings so many things to the table, and his ability to adapt as well. So I just see Moses win this fight pretty early, probably in the first half of the fight, and that's not disrespecting Dylan Whyte because he's a great fighter, but Moses is just special. So
as a fighter mentally, obviously, and you mentioned you study the past few years of a fighter's career when you fight. Obviously, Dillian hasn't had a tough test since the Jermaine Franklin fight back in 2022. He fought Christian Hammer, he fought Ebenezer Tete as well.
It's not hard fights though.
But ones which didn't challenge him and ones which, with no disrespect to them, are not Moses Itauma. Is it difficult as a fighter mentally to prepare for what you could deem to be the toughest version of a fighter, knowing that the last few years maybe haven't been going the way that they would have wanted?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, there's many reasons for a bad performance, if that's what you're getting at with Dylan. Like, I think when you know you've got to be on your A game, you're on your A game. No one wants to approach a fight and get hurt or take a pasting. But it's not just that. I think styles make fights as well. So that style for Dylan was probably a poor matchup and didn't see the best of him, etc., etc. But you see Dylan this week is in arguably, I would say, the best shape anyone's ever seen him in. So he knows what's involved for this fight.
Obviously, Turkey Al Sheikh's mentioned he wants to make Moses versus Alexander Usyk in the near future if Moses comes through Saturday. I know it's one fight at a time, and there is obviously a leap between, no disrespect to Dillian, but Dillian to Alexander Usyk. But do you think Moses would be ready? Do you think he would jump at that chance to fight Alexander Usyk in his next fight?
It's got nothing to lose, has it? He's 20 years old. Not only is he knocking on the door, comes through this fight, he's not just knocking on the door for a world title, he's kicking it down. So why not? He's got nothing to lose. And he's beat all our best heavyweights twice, each one, all three. So Moses has got nothing to lose, and he brings something different to the game, what all them heavyweights bring. So why not? He's got nothing, like I said, nothing to lose. He's the only heavyweight I've ever seen move like a lightweight. He not just speed, setup, skill, better than lightweights I've seen. Unbelievable talent. So.
Leigh, swing back to yourself. I've seen you about, but I haven't spoken to you since the Cacace fight. Just to touch on a bit of time to reflect now. How would you look back on that fight?
Wasn't my best night, but under the circumstances, I always go out and give 100%. I don't want to make excuses. I've said this before. The better man on the night. I just want to move forward and go and perform and show you what I can do still. Hopefully get back out in November time, all being well. That's when I want to fight. I don't want a long time out of the ring before my last fight, I had a long time out of the ring. I don't want to be sitting around for too long. Ideally in November, I'd like to fight and just finding the right opponent. We've been in talks. Hopefully some progress pretty soon.
I know you don't want to dwell on it too much, but just for one more on it then. You mentioned you want to be out quite quickly. Going into that Cacace fight, you had an extended period outside of a ring. Do you feel like that played a factor going into that fight?
I chose to fight and I chose to take a challenge, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I didn't perform because of this, but they're excuses. And I promised him when we shook hands, I said, look, I don't want excuses from you. There'll be no excuses from me. So, yeah, I just want to draw a line and say, look, the better man won on the night. And going forward, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to show you what I can still do and go out and do what I do and perform. That's the best way to go about it.
Obviously, I was caught up with Ben earlier in the week, and Ben said you'd fly out here and you can have a few conversations. The one name he mentioned was a certain man who you've beaten previously, Josh Warrington. Is he the name at the top of the list then?
I think it makes sense for both of us. I've been in a few conversations about the fight, and you know, politics of boxing is like, it's so jarring. That's the word, jarring. But if that fight don't make ground soon, then I've got a lot of options and I can make a fight pretty quick. So yeah, but like I said, it's the one that makes sense. I think there was the narrative from his side. You know, he was winning the fight until he got knocked out. Brilliant. And we despise each other. Well, I despise him. I just really like him, and I'll take pleasure in beating him again. We've both got great fan bases that will collide again, so it makes sense. But we'll see. I've got a lot of options. Well, I've got a few more other options that are good fights, big fights, headliners. So, like I said, I don't want to sit around too long. I want to fight in November. So the next 2-3 weeks is very important to get that made.
When the rematch didn't occur kind of sooner to when the first fight happened, and there was a lot of talk about you two fighting again, there's all the talk about the financials maybe not quite being right. What does it take to get the pair of you to sign on the dotted line? Is the fight still as valuable to you as what it was after the first
conversations fight? And it's the politics. But I think we're getting to the point now where it's going to either get made or not very very soon. So and before the fighting it made before was nothing to do with money at all. So
when you say politics, can I draw anything else out of you or?
No, obviously he's with Matchroom, and I'm not signed with anyone yet, but I would like to work with Frank again. But we've got a few options, the ways we can do the fight. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks.
So I mean, just to prod and probe a little more on that front. When you mentioned November, we know you got Eubank Ben. Is that if it could happen on that card, or do you think standalone headline somewhere? To
be fair, you know, obviously winning the first fight in neutral ground in Sheffield, which we'll say neutral ground, but Sheffield's very very close to Leeds if you didn't know. So winning the first fight in Sheffield, I think I've earned the right to do the fight in Nottingham, but we'll see.
Leigh, when you mentioned other options as well, who else is maybe getting the juices flowing for you?
You know, Frank Warren's got a few super featherweights, and he's got a good featherweight that I'm sure we could make a deal with. But I'm not trying to look at them yet because I think the fight that makes the most sense is the Warrington fight. But if everyone's messing around, then I'm not going to wait around and be inactive. So we'll see.
To your knowledge, then, has Josh been quite receptive to try and get that fight over the line this time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's like I said, it's down to the promoters and the politics. So.
If you can get it over the line, what happens in a rematch? Is it more emphatic than first time? I think
we will, and you know, I'm just going to prove that in boxing, there's no such thing as a lucky punch.
Leigh, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Leave you to go and watch the rest of the game. Thanks for speaking to me.
See you later, mate. Bye.
Cheers.